So now that all of that has been addressed, in some ways, yes, I would like to continue, especially off like my notes and things that I had after meeting with the accountant. Speaking of which, if you pay for a tax attorney, that's tax deductible, and you can ask them all the same questions that I'm asking you and basically answers I'm giving you. You know, it's been a very long week, okay? We're only here at Wednesday. You can only imagine all the things that I've been through, okay? And all these different spiritual revelations, all these different things that I'm going through that I'm actually very excited to share with you, which is what brings me back to being here with you now again. Okay, so I've been meditating a lot on my professional wrestling career and my characters, and I want to talk a bit about Your Spoiled Brat, okay, and exactly what's going on with that. Okay, so when I first got into Findom, I wasn't really sure if that's really what I wanted to do, okay? So there was all kinds of judgments, all kinds of drama that I dealt with from people. So what I did is I made that my professional wrestling character. I am your spoiled brat. I'm the spoiled American girl. I have everything. You mean nothing. You know, I'm a heel. I'm a bad guy. I'm that girl you fucking love to hate and love to love, you know, because some people are all about that, about girls getting their money and being independent women and, you know, being the boss lady and bossing around other girls and stuff like that, right? And then I have Goddess of Water, which is my other persona, essentially. Yes, where I'm a baby face and, you know, I'm spiritual and I'm into crystals, you know, and essentially both people are the same person, okay? Like, I love being underwater. I'm a mermaid. And they're just like multi-layers of myself, okay? And it's been a great outlet, and straight up, like, now that I'm thinking about this today, like, that's definitely what I want to do. I definitely would like to bring both those characters to life in a brighter way. And, you know, while I have you here, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I worked for Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and my character then was Toxic Butthole. And I know it's totally silly. It's just a passion that I fulfilled from mine, okay? I feel like I've told this story before in the past, although I'd like to get into the story a little bit deeper, or just like explain it one more time so I know for sure the story is officially out there. Okay, so I've done professional wrestling since I was about 15 years old. It happened on accident. I've said this before. I had an ex-boyfriend. I met this guy who had a mohawk, John Beaver, and I had a mohawk too at the same time. He had a Hardy Boys necklace on. You know, let's be honest, I grew up, you know, not a super rich kid, you know, and like a rush for me was being a kleptomaniac, you know. I loved the risk factor of all that stuff. I've completely grown out of that now, and I especially enjoy to collect pieces from people. And like, I guess you could say I'm not necessarily a kleptomaniac. I mean, it's a hard label to like really define, essentially, and I know that's also a gray area, but like, I love to collect pieces from people, and it was always consensual. Like, people knew I was taking it. Like, from him, like, I totally kidnapped his he had a Hardy Boys necklace, and I was like, mine. Okay, it was just like a weird thing that I was going through, I guess, when I was like 14 years old. And so I meet this guy, and like, we become buddies or whatever, and kind of crush on each other, and ended up dating. But like, what we did that night is we actually wrestled in the mud while it poured rain on 4th of July. And it was so much fun and so thrilling. And it turns out he was a backyard wrestler. Okay. And then like, I started doing research on that, and I found out backyard wrestling is apparently shamed upon and all this stuff. Okay. So there's like all this drama. So I was like, kind of being motivational at the time from what I had learned, you know. I was like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of crap about this. I think that you should go to this pro wrestling school. So I told him to take it more seriously, and he totally did. And then I went with him, of course, okay? And then I was really young at the time, and they were kind of being jerks about training me because I was underage, though I did get to roll around in the ring. And I've mentioned this before, and I was a self-mutilator at the time. I cut myself, okay? And I know it's not a good coping mechanism. However, it gave me a great adrenaline rush. It boils back down to centuries and ages ago, where it's called bloodletting in other cultures, where it's actually a completely almost normalized thing, you know, except here in our country, you can't talk about those things even, really, especially like on social media, which also bothers me because these are things that need to be discussed. Anyway, when I got in the professional wrestling ring, I just got that same exact rush, that complete release of emotion, and just, it was just like so fulfilling. So I became obsessed. And then, you know, that didn't work out training there. That was at Coastal Championship Wrestling School. And then I started training at Rusty Brooks School, which was, yes, done in his backyard, where I met his son, J-Dog, and he had amazing real dog named Sadie, who I just loved, a beautiful pit bull who's just so lovey-dovey. And, you know, they trained us pretty hard, okay? And, like, I went through a lot of circumstances at that age to even be training. Like, I would have to take an hour-long bus and get there, like, an hour before everyone else. And then Rusty was really cool, and he would pick me up at the bus stop or whatever and take me back as close to the house, you know. And then, yeah, we had to do drills and jump over boards, like do flip bumps and stuff like that. And I know I'm totally breaking kayfabe right now, so I apologize, professional wrestling community. Just, I know my wrestlers feel me on this, okay? And, like, that's also frustrating, like, how it's, like, shamed upon to talk about that stuff, too. Though this has been one of the most spiritually rewarding things that I've ever done in my life, okay? And then, I'll tell you the truth, when I was there at the school, I dealt with some sexual harassment in many aspects where this guy that ran a promotion, I won't drop his name out of, like, in some aspect, respect, you know. I mean, even though there's no respect to, shine upon that, like, he ribbed me, okay? Like, that's a term we use in the wrestling world. Imagine someone's poking in the ribs, like, 1,000 times. Like, they're really messing with you, okay? And how they were messing with me is that he would tell people that I was sleeping with him, and I legitimately was not, okay? And that's something that's actually very common in the wrestling world. And then I had another circumstance, like, where, okay, I have a possum rescue called Possums for Pets Not Stew, and I brought a possum to the wrestling school, which, looking back, was completely inappropriate, though, you know, at that age, like, I was just kind of showing off or just trying to, like, educate people on possums and stuff like that, and, like, I got treated really badly because of that. And then, so that made me completely drop wrestling, to be honest. And then, you know, I did actually end up making a comeback, and then that was mainly me being, like, a manager and, like, coming out and being basically eye candy, which I quickly learned that that's not really what I want to do. I mean, it's a lot of fun and, like, yeah, you get attention, though that's not what I got into wrestling for. Like, I love being in the ring. I'm very fit. I have tons of energy, and, you know, I could be more fit, but, you know, it's something I really, really enjoy doing. And then something happened, and I stopped doing it again. Like, I can't even really tell you what happened. I don't really know exactly. Like, I'm kind of blacking that out. Actually, I want to say I got casted for Tough Enough. I remember that happening. And then, like, they got a lot of personal information from me, like, about my father and his illness and, you know, a lot of personal information, essentially. And then just, like, I felt kind of exposed, and, like, that didn't really end up working out at the time. And I remember that causing some emotions, you know, and just, like, I imagine this is a factor too. It's like that uncomfortable feeling, like, sometimes you, like, are you tough enough? That's exactly what it is. Like, you go through so much training and so much crap and so much hard training and, like, getting moves right, and there's, like, so much stuff that you go through, you know, and it's just like, is this really what you want to do? And, like, I wasn't really certain that that was what I wanted to do. And so my grandmother, this is getting down to the story, okay, of TB, Talks About Hole. My grandma suffered anxiety attacks, and I feel like I've mentioned this before, though, like, this is something that just, like, drives me crazy, okay? So I found out that, so, number one, my grandma worked for Publix for, like, many, many years. And I found out that if you work for Publix and if you're on disability for alcohol, like, you can get disability for alcoholism, okay? Which, I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is my grandma, she would have colitis attacks, which basically means that you poop yourself, and, like, I researched it, and a lot of it has to do with anxiety and diet and stuff like that. And, like, I've had moments where I felt like I was going to lose control over my bowels because of, like, major anxiety and emotions, you know, and stuff like that. And so, like, you know, me and my dad are actually driving to go see my grandma at, like, the home that she's in, kind of thing. And it raised a lot of really uncomfortable emotions and stuff like that. And so I was talking to my dad about how, you know, that's going to end up being me, kind of thing. And he started asking me on the way home, whatever happened to wrestling? And I was like, Dad, like, I made a joke. It was a complete joke, okay? But it wasn't like a joke because I meant it. I always mean what I say. And that's something huge part of my character, okay? Unless I'm acting, right? So, this is not an act. So I told my dad, Dad, I'm never wrestling again unless I work for Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and I call myself the Toxic Butthole in honor of Grandma, and that I work a Rikishi gimmick where I rub my butt in people's faces, you know. And shout out to OG Kevin Gill. I know there's a lot of mad heat that he gets and a lot of drama, and I know the shadow of his character, you know, and I still have love and respect for KG because he's why I'm back. He gave me a chance, and yeah, I messed up, okay? I lost that match, to say the least, okay? And it happened so fast. You can see the match for yourself. Like, it's like I didn't even think to kick out, or like I don't know what happened, okay? Like, I blacked out. I got nervous. Like, that's another thing. Like I said, I don't do wrestling for the crowds. Like, I black out because of the crowds, and apparently that's something that happened to Steve Austin. And as you can tell, this is something I'm very passionate about, and I know I'm getting completely off topic in some aspect, but that is also where your spoiled brat kind of comes from. But I'm kind of at a point right now where I'm thinking about coming back again, okay? I mentioned before, I had things that went wrong with JoJo Championship Wrestling, which basically made me feel like not good enough, and like I have to train more, and like I couldn't even do the basics right, to be honest with you, okay? Like, not bumping. I mean, it's uncomfortable. Though I am seeking people that are going to be supportive of my wrestling career, especially federations, like people that are going to understand where I'm coming from and know what it's like to be a woman, basically. You know, a lot of girls, they don't ever talk about this stuff. They're just really tough. A lot of them, they do it for the shine. You know, that's not really what I'm here for. I'm here for something so much greater, something that really fills my soul. And yes, I know how much damage it can cause to our body. No, I didn't see the rest of the movie, though I do have a great insight from my own personal intuition and being hands-on inside the business for 10 years now, right? Over 10 years, because I'm 26. Thanks to Chase and Rance. And, whoa, actually, if it wasn't for my match going so sour at the Gathering of the Juggalos with Machiko, who actually spit on me in real life, okay? Spit on me because I didn't kick out. Or no, is that right? Like, I don't know if I'm getting that right. I don't know. But basically, I don't even really know why she spit on me. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. But, I guess she dated Teddy Hart. And Teddy Hart had heart and saw where I was coming from. And because of him, he connected me with Chasen, which is so funny because I've known Chasen since I was 16 years old, since I first started. And I have nothing bad to say about Chasen, okay? Nothing bad to say about Chasen. I know there's all this drama and news articles and crap against him because he had romantic relations with an underage girl whose mom caused drama, you know. I mean, obviously you don't know all that stuff, and yes, maybe it's just talk or whatever, you know, it's his word, my word, our words against each other. But let's be honest, in other countries, it's okay to date younger girls, and like, let's be honest, when I was 16, yeah, I was interested in older men, okay? I want someone mature and responsible, and I've never had that kind of relationship with Chasen. Like, Chasen's just like family to me, and he kind of took me under his wing, and I believe in wrestling, and I love his wrestling school. And I want to go back. My only hang up with the school, or not even with the school, is just with me. It's like I have to drive 2 hours there and then 2 hours back every single time I want to go to school, which frankly, I'm at a point right now, like, where this is the prime of my youth, essentially. Like, right? This is as young as I'm going to get. I'm as fit as I've ever been before. I'm totally in that mental state where I'm ready to give it my all. And like, it's definitely something that's out there, and it's a huge decision I have to make, which frankly, I'm thinking about it. Like, I would just love to just straight up quit my job, basically, and then I have two options. I can either go live in Orlando, or I can just go there like once a week and then stay there for a couple days, or just, I have to figure that out. I mean, it's kind of shady. Like, I'll tell you the truth, like, there's not a lot of money inside wrestling when you're doing small indie shows, and I mentioned that before. But I don't do that for the money. I do it because I love it. This is getting long. I'll probably have to continue on a third segment. Bye.